You could be larger than life.
Hello, welcome to Live Life Driven. I hope you're having a great week. You know, my publicist or my marketing team said, "Hey, Jim, you got to start doing more videos for social media. They gain a lot of attention and all that." So I've been getting out of my comfort zone a little bit, doing more videos, having some fun with that. Ironically, I just joined the Lions Den with Sean Whalen and his group. I've known Sean for quite a few years through my off-road racing, and I thought, I should be a part of his group and see what they're up to over there and support him in his efforts. And he had this challenge of 7 videos that you should do right away. So I've been working through those. So Sean, thank you for the challenge. Thank you for the den. As a lot of you know, I'm a part of the Arte Syndicate with Ed Milet and Andy Frisella. Huge values there. If you ever are interested in joining, reach out to me. I have access once in a while and some codes for you. But the Lions Den is, Sean has an opening every several months, great group of people, and it's really opened my network up to some wonderful entrepreneurs from around the country, around the world, and today is no exception. I've got Brenden Valks on the line right now. How you doing, Brenden?
I'm awesome. How are you today?
I'm good. I didn't even put it together that you were up in Canada, which is even better and cooler. Love getting outside of the U.S. with our guests.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to a guy from Raleigh, North Carolina yesterday, and he was telling me how cold it was there, and I Googled it. And so for all you Americans out there, where I am, it's 10 degrees Fahrenheit today. And so him being in Raleigh, he was absolutely blown away how I could live somewhere so cold. And I was like, it's just getting started.
It's funny. We had some snow the other day here in Montana. I had some guests from out of town, great people, and they're like, "Oh, wow, it's cold out there." I'm like, I'm going out in a T-shirt, man. This is 32 degree snow. Like, wait till we get the minus degree snow, then we'll talk.
That's right.
You acclimate. Right. We just opened the border here in Montana to our Canadian friends next door. I don't know about you and where you shop and all that stuff, but our border crossing's in Eureka, and we're the closest town, which is an hour south of Eureka, probably an hour south of the biggest town in Canada. They all come down here to shop my Costco, man. So they've been bombarding my liquor cabinets, the cigarettes, which I don't smoke, milk, bacon, all that stuff you guys eat up there. Can you tell them to slow down a little bit?
Yeah, we got, for where I live, I'm in Manitoba, Canada. And so we've got Grand Forks and Fargo, North Dakota are the two places that Manitobans drive down to because it's only a couple hours away. Manitobans do the same thing over there that they do down in Montana. So, I can't tell them to slow down, but you need to restock faster maybe.
Yeah, it's funny because I told my wife, I said, "Hey, they're opening the border tomorrow. Go to Costco, get whatever it is we need, hit the other stores." And she comes back, she goes, "They're already here." I'm like, "Oh, they must have opened it earlier." But you know what? Hey, open arms down here. We're so glad that the Canadians are coming down here and coming back to their properties because a lot of them vacation down here, spending their money. So we're happy to have them. It's just funny to joke around about it a little bit. This conversation's a little bit blue collar. If you think about it, we're talking about how make ends meet and getting supplies and stuff like that. In the Lions Den, some of these guys, they're flying around their helicopters and their private jets, and Arte Syndicates this week, and the event down there, if you want to attend, is like $15,000, And so, anyways, we're talking about blue collar. As my listeners know, I'm a huge proponent for blue collar workers. There's definitely a shortage around the country, and I think there will continue to be one. But we do have a fair amount of blue collar workers on the show and listening to it. And on your website, I'm going to turn this over to you in a minute. I was reading through your bio. It says, Booth and Vanguard is the name of the company and exists to build or help blue-collar trades and service-based businesses take a sales approach to operations, get organized, and make more sales. And I thought, what a great opportunity to offer your knowledge and some insight as to what you guys do and how you can help others to gain some value as blue-collar workers and what they do. So if you don't mind, hey, take it from here. Tell us a little bit about your company and what you're doing to help these blue-collar workers.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, Jim, to be here. And we're on video, so it's rad to see the inside of your office here a little bit. But for everybody at home, Booth and Vanguard, just real quick, has been around forever. But the problem is I was everything to everybody. And as we know in business, no matter what you do, that doesn't work out so well. And so over the last little bit, I've refined my message, refined the group of people I work with, and my heart lies with the blue-collar and trades guys and anybody in service-based businesses because I grew up in a small town. And in small towns, what happens is you tend to see these guys work 12, 15, 16 hours a day doing drywall, siding, building houses, whatever it is, and they never work on their business. They don't spend enough time. Excuse me, they don't spend enough time with their family. And I always thought that that was a travesty. And as I grew up and started to get into business and sales, I realized these guys could be doing so many different things from a process-driven perspective, and that I really want to help them. And that's sort of where my current business, Booth and Vanguard, came from, is my love and appreciation for how hard these guys work, especially places like Montana, or Manitoba. It gets cold, and these guys are still out there doing their thing. And so I have so much respect for them and want to help them as much as I can. And I guess what I do is I look at these businesses that have been in business for 3+ years, Jim. And if you've been in business for 3+ years, no matter what you do, you've got a stack of stuff in your truck piled up on the dashboard, driving around. You've got an accounting system, whether it's a Google Sheet or whether it's a QuickBooks, something like that. And your customer information is all over the place, on napkins, in systems, whatever. And so what I realized was you don't need more sales. You don't need new sales. What you need is organizational sales systems that can help you do follow-up work, referral work, and actually use the database that you've built. A prime example is an HVAC plumbing combo company I'm working with. 7,000 people in their database, 42 years in business, never done a single thing from an outbound perspective with that database.
Wow.
And so the amount of opportunity sitting there is unbelievable.
To talk about outbound just for a second, because I want to make sure people understand what you're talking about there. It's really an important point.
Yeah, so most guys in the trades, they're running around from job to job, and they don't do anything from a sales-driven perspective, right? They're taking a phone call from Jim, and as soon as they get off the phone with Jim, they're like, I'll do his quote later at midnight, and then they're talking to Bob, and so on and so forth. But what they don't realize is that Jim could be a referral later on. Mm-hmm. Jim could need other services, something I call bolt-on services. We can talk about that a little bit later. But there's so much opportunity just in Jim, just from talking to Jim. But because they're so scattered, so chaotic in their day-to-day running, that they don't take time to properly write that down. And so doing outbound to me is cataloging that information, making a quick note on Jim. Again, there's so many softwares now you can do from your phone in the truck that or on site that you can go back later and you can send a follow-up text, this follow-up email, those things to stay top of mind with Jim.
Well, even a monthly newsletter of what you're doing, what your company's doing, maybe some specials you got coming up or reminders. Hey, summer's around the corner. Let's service your air conditioning unit, new filter or whatever. I was talking to a friend of mine. Her name's Presley. You can find her on Instagram if you're listening. It's PresleyKP.fit. She's got 315,000 followers. She's an athlete. She focuses on sports nutrition, all that for women. And, she said she was getting banned on Instagram for some of her posts and stuff like that. And TikTok closed her down. She's got a little bit of a political skew, which I appreciate. And I said, well, how's your email list going? And she's like, email list? I said, yeah, you got 315,000 followers. Like, how many emails? What's your database look like? She's like, well, I don't really have a database.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry to kind of divert a little bit here, but I just want to push on the importance of what you talked about is outbound. If Presley's going to get canceled on TikTok and she's being shadow banned on Instagram, but she doesn't have an email database with 315,000 followers, it's time to go to work. Get your email databases up to date, utilize them to build your business and push them outbound like what you talked about.
Well, the thing is too is people like people, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, Jim's got an amazing business and he's got multiple businesses going on. For those of you listening that don't know, you should check out what Jim's got going on. But the thing is that they want to know about Jim. They want to know about his family. They want to know about his horseback riding, his ranch. They want to know Jim. The business is secondary. And so what I tell a lot of guys is actually start telling people some stories. Yeah. Make sure that your team knows your story. Make sure that they know your mission and how they plug into that mission. I was talking to one client and he told me, I tell my guys my mission. And I challenged him. I'm like, okay, in your next weekly stand-up meeting, ask people what your mission is.
Yeah.
The number one answer that came back was either, I don't know, or to make money.
Yeah.
Which was not even close to the mission. And so it just opened this client's eyes to, oh my goodness, I need to be talking about this perpetually all the time to what the mission is. And so with an email database, you can monthly touch these people or weekly touch these people with a story from your life about how you went camping or how you're building igloos in the backyard because now there's a bunch of snow or whatever the case. For those of you that don't know what snow is, you should Google it.
Yeah.
But there's so many opportunities to tell stories and be real with people outside of just business content of when do you need your furnace fixed or things of that nature.
Yeah, you know your story about the tradesman that's running around in his truck with a dash full of paperwork. It's so true. I see it all the time. I'm down at Murdoch's getting my horse supplies and tack and all that stuff. Our next door here at R&R Ranch, where I get my guns and my ammo. And you see the workers pull up and their trucks are filled with stuff, and they're out there working their butt off. But what are they doing to build their business, maintain their business, or generate new leads? Probably nothing. So I love where you're heading with this. I know my farrier, when he comes over, he's got the stack in the dashboard.
And they're going like, you can't see on camera, but they're up over the dash trying to see over the paper. And I'm convinced that all these guys, Jim, they've got $5,000 to $10,000 sitting on their dashboard.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, you're probably right.
It's just a matter of fact. And so what I like to do is give them systems and processes to just start plugging that data in and then come up with one action that they could take. I've got a process for everything and I want you to do everything, but I don't want to overwhelm these guys. And so just one thing at a time.
Maybe you can touch on this a little bit. And this is probably the case with my farrier. He's a busy guy. He's working on all the horses he needs to work on. And of course, when he's at somebody's property, they're like, "Hey, can you weld this? Can you do that?" And he's a good old cowboy. He does it all. But a lot of these guys don't want to add more jobs to their life. They're making the money that they want to make. So it's not necessarily always about getting more money, but it could be about efficiencies or creating more time to be at home and do what you want to do with your family. So it works both ways, right?
Yeah, and so I talk about that in building the life you deserve. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's you want more time with your family. Like your farrier, by the sounds of it, he's maybe got some grandkids, he's got a ranch of his own, and he's not spending as much time there as he'd like to admit. He might not say that to you, but internally he's gonna tell himself that.
Yeah.
And so the big thing is, there's a great book on this called Built to Sell. A friend of mine in the real estate industry actually gave it to me. I don't know if you've read it or not, but for all of you, go check it out. And what it really cemented for me was this idea that what's your farrier going to do down the road when he retires? Yeah. What is the farrier going to do when he wants to retire? Either A, his income goes to zero because he's done, or B, he's built something that he can bring someone in on. I'm not a huge proponent of selling your business. I mean, if you get it figured out and it's making you some money, figure out how to hand it off to the next generation kind of thing. It doesn't have to be a family member. It could be someone you hire in and train up. But, why not retire with some residual income coming in from a business that you spent your entire life building?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many little tricks out there to streamline what you're doing, be a little bit more efficient, make more money, or make more time. And I love that that's some of the tools that you offer. I was looking at your website, and just real briefly, I was looking at your blogs, and you've got one. It's titled "How to Fix It When You're Stuck." And the key points in this that you pointed out is 2 words. Today, 3 words actually. Today is one of them, and then help you. Right.
Yeah.
And I just love that. And maybe I picked this up from Sean Whalens' book, How to Get Shit Done. What I really like about that book, and it's the same as what you've said here, is don't wait. If you're overweight, as an example, and you want to get thin, you want to get healthy, and you're suffering from it, well, don't wait. Do it now. Do it today. Hire a trainer. Put the money out. Give up something else. Have the money to get that trainer and go sign up at the gym and get in there and do it today. There's no reason to wait. And people, they don't realize that. They want to plan everything out and, justify why they've got to wait. And what they realize, or what we find, is in 2 weeks, they don't do it, anyhow. So do it today, right?
Yeah. And so that blog post